I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati here, joined as always by my loyal companion. Ryan is very polite. Lynch.
Sorry.
What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. We have a very special guest on the show today. He just dropped a special on his YouTube channel that you should check out called
Thin Lips.
Give it up for Brendan Sagalow, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Just dropped the smash.
I love when you do a podcast and you just see like the inner workings of, or like the little inside jokes that everybody does. You know what I mean? You're like, we got fucking polite Ryan here. He goes, oh, sorry. And it's like an inside joke. And yeah. And you go, oh, it's banana time. All a bunch of balloons and bananas come out.
Lots of segments. Lots of segments here.
A lot of segments.
Podcasting is so funny, man.
It's great, dude.
It is so funny.
Ripping the pod. This man is no stranger to the pod culture, Mr. Sagalow.
Oh.
Big potter.
Part of the culture.
At one point, I would call myself more of a podcaster than a comedian.
Which point
like
was
a
this?
stand-up, you know what I mean?
Really? You were just not doing spots?
I was doing more podcasts. I mean, I was doing spots, but I didn't put anything out or anything like that. I was just doing podcasts, you know what I mean?
Have you ever taken a long break from doing stand-up?
No.
I haven't either, actually.
No, I couldn't.
How long you been doing stand-up?
2 days.
No, he's been around forever.
I've been around 14 years. 14 years last week, actually. I don't know why I looked at my watch like it's like clicking it. But 14 years last week. I was actually just talking about you, too, because I was like, you were like the first person I met. One of them. Nice. It was like you and Adam Lucidi.
Oh, yeah. I got old Adam Lucidi.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I've known Sagalow, the Sag Daddy, since, he was a wee lad.
Right.
It's been interesting to see you grow from a boy to a man.
Yeah, because when did you start comedy? How old were you?
22.
Wow. I was 19, too. What year did you start?
2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And I thought you were like a grizzled vet.
I am.
When
Is that
I
not?
came in. Now
yeah.
you are.
No, but that makes sense. Like, I had been doing it for, a couple years, and you were brand new.
Yeah, and I came in, and I was like, I think you, spoke at an open mic or something. I did, whatever.
Dude.
Like, Jeff Lawrence was like, and we have a pretty, and you had done, oh, you know what's funny? You had done a ton of stuff, and I was like, wow, this guy's like real deal kind of shit. And then you hit me up about doing, I'm so bad at auditions and shit. You did a prank show.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
What was the name of that show?
Totally Clueless. It was on MTV. I don't know if you can find it anywhere, but I have all the episodes.
You were good in it.
I appreciate it.
You were good in it. I can't do pranks. I'm not like an impractical joker or anything like that. I mean, as soon as I start lying to someone, the minute they believe me, I'm like, I'm kidding. That's not true.
It's a little uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable, but I'll tell you this, okay? So Giulio recommends me to what I think it was Totally Clueless. And they were looking to do more stuff. And when I came in, they were instantly disappointed in me for some reason. I came in and I was sweating. It was like in August. It was like such a hot day in August. And they were like, oh, okay. So, and the audition was doing pranks. So they were like, okay, I guess we'll just go outside and you'll do some pranks. And I'm like, first of all, I was running late. So I'm like, and I'm sweating. And they go, okay, so we're going to put a microphone up your back. And it was, that girl, poor girl. She put a microphone up my back. It was so
go ahead and
sweaty.
slide this up there real quick.
It was so sweaty. She took her hand out like, ugh, okay, gross. And then we did the pranks. And this was my version of a prank. I went up to an Asian lady and I went, hey, can I borrow your phone? And then she was like, no. And I was like, did you see the movie Forrest Gump? And she was like, what? And I'm like, basically trying to pretend like I'm special needs. That was my prank.
Did they like that?
But did they make you think of your own prank?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
They went, go fuck around.
Go do your own prank.
They were done. They were so done with me. They were like, it was obviously like a situation where they were like, all right, well, he came all this way. And they were like, definitely I'm over there pranking Asian ladies. And they're going like, hey, are you going to go to the party on Friday? Like, they were definitely not at all.
They weren't paying attention to you.
They're kind of dicks.
Dude, this is the second time already, though, that Sagalow today has said that he arrived and people were immediately disappointed in him, which just doesn't seem like a plausible scenario. Like,
But dude, I feel it, man. I'm like, I know that, that
but
feeling.
you might be wrong, dude. Are you willing to accept that?
I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong, but I'm also willing to accept that I can feel a vibe. Okay, I know, dude.
Comedians have no self-esteem, ladies and gentlemen.
I know,
If you can't tell, this is a perfect example.
Comedians are very funny. We have no self-esteem, and then we're also like, but I am the best.
Yeah.
But no, because so when you bomb, when you bomb,
you do.
right? And when everyone's politely not telling you that you bombed, and they're going like, yeah, it was good, and like, I did this
Good
thing.
shit, dude. Good shit, dude.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, yeah. Well, I did this thing this week. We can't talk much about it.
Okay.
But after the first day, when I told you I thought I did horribly, I was saying to every single person. So they had like a little runner that was coming in and like giving me waters and stuff and like taking this shit off my head and all that stuff. And I go, how am I doing? And she's like, good. And I was like, fuck.
Oh.
I was
Bro.
like, you can tell when, dude.
5
You're
out
not
of 10
supposed to
good.
ask the little bitch.
I asked literally every single person.
He asked the little bitch who isn't paying attention. They're just concerned that you're going to get mad when they bring you sparkling instead of still.
That's true.
She's not. She doesn't even have a headset. She
I
can't hear
know.
anything you're doing.
I know, but when you're doing well because when you go, how am I doing? They're like, really great. Like something like that. But she was like, good. And I'm like, oh,
Was she in the room? Like, did she see you
they-
do your
yeah,
thing at all?
yes.
Okay, so then there is a
Okay,
little
so
bit
she
of.
saw.
I just knew I was doing bad, and
Bro,
but the next couple of days I went, I'm not going to ask about this. I'm just
get
gonna,
good.
I'm just going to
Exactly.
do a good job.
Don't
I'm just
ask.
gonna try
Yeah.
and
How am I doing?
do my best.
How am I doing is a step in the direction of doing badly.
Yeah.
Even if
you're
you've been
asking
doing
how
well,
you're doing, I literally asked
You
every
get knocked a
single
peg.
person. They were like, okay, we're going to take a break. I'd be like leaning into other people's offices going like, I don't know if you caught that, but how am I doing? It's like, and I hated that feeling. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm doing bad. I hate it.
I'm sure you did great.
Whatever.
Sagalow's a talented guy. He's a rapper, an avid rapper.
Yeah.
Great stand-up comedian. Rapping is a funny thing, dude.
It's very funny. I saw that clip that you posted of you rapping when you were really
Oh yeah,
young.
when I was like 16.
I was like, oh, this is fucking good. You were 16 in that?
I think it was 16 or 17. Yeah,
Wow, he was good. Did you see that clip?
You had some like Kappa Delta confidence.
some heat,
Some, like
dude.
sorority girl confidence in that.
It was
rap.
just, you live in this little bubble. Like you get to this place where you're comfortable with everybody, and it's probably the most confident I'll ever be. Like
I was rapping.
in that moment, no, but like not rapping. Like I'm rapping as a 17-year-old.
Oh, right.
With my boys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You think so. What therapy has taught me a lot is everything I thought of who I was, my therapist is always like, I bet you weren't. 'Cause
Right,
I'm always like,
right.
when I was younger, I didn't give a fuck what anybody thought of me. And I blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I bet that's not true.
Yeah, dude.
I bet you really don't give a
100%.
fuck.
No, totally. Like, and Nikki Glazer told me this, not to fucking brag,
drop.
not to
Name
name
drop,
drop,
name drop.
but I have it as a recurring reminder in my phone. When she said, stop believing the story that you're telling yourself. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
Now,
That's pretty good.
see, all these fucking idioms. I can always find a problem with the idioms. Like, stop believing the story you're telling yourself. Yeah, but I also know what's going on.
I wrote the story.
I feel it. I feel it in my gut what the
bro,
story's
it's
happening.
true though, but fair. But like, think about it this way: you being like, I showed up and everyone hated me immediately. It's insane sounding, by the way.
Right.
And like, I know you're maybe also kind of being funny, but also maybe not.
Well, with
But,
Totally
like,
Clueless, it was. Everyone was like upset that I was there and I could feel it. With this, everybody was really excited. And then the minute I started doing what I had to do, they were like, I would look out at them and they're like this, being like, do it better, Brendan. Like stuff like that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but dude, you also don't actually know any of this stuff.
No, of course.
And I know you can catch a vibe, and I get that you're probably right a lot of the time, but
Right.
you also might not be. So I think that
Right.
is what she's talking about. And I do think there's value there because we do tend to not give ourselves the benefit of the doubt.
Right, and I appreciate you saying that, but it'll do nothing for me. I do appreciate you saying that, but I will be lying awake until I'm in the thing that I did until I turn on my TV and I'm in it. Like if I don't get cut out of it, I'll be like, God, I fucking suck and and all this shit. So whatever. But that's just how it goes.
how it
These
goes.
fucking idioms, man. Everybody lives their life off of fucking.
Some sayings.
It feels
Idioms
nice to
and
hear them,
sayings.
but it is. I agree with
They
you.
can
It
be
feels like
comforting.
oil and water. It
Here's
just
another. I was
slides
trying
right
to do a
off.
bit about how people are like, "Hey, be nicer to my friend." Like when they're talking about you. If you're like, "Oh my God,
hilarious.
I'm getting fat," they're like, "Hey, be nicer to my friend Brendan." There's a part of me that's like, "No, I think I know your friend a little bit better than you." Okay, I know the ins and outs of this psychopath, and he deserves all the hate he gets.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Dude. Yeah, man. Look, it's tough out there, dude. It's tough out there.
It's stuff out there.
This episode of Oops the Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp.
Dude, I love working with my BetterHelp therapist. It is such a great way to attack therapy. In the past, when I would go in person, I would leave my apartment. It would take me 40 minutes to get there, 40
Ew.
minutes to get home. I'm
Ew.
walking through the heat, and it's just such an unpleasant experience. And then
thank you.
I was in person doing therapy. And eventually my relationship with that therapist got kind of weird, and I felt weird cutting it off because now like the person knew so much about me, and like I saw him, and it was just weird, dude. And that's why I like BetterHelp for so many different reasons. First of all, way more time efficient. If we're just going to be straightforward like that, you flip open your computer and you do it. You can do it on your phone. Any device is capable of executing your therapy session. So that's amazing to begin with. And something about having the computer as a barrier, it's sort of like a buffer between you and your shrink, makes it so much easier to change. You don't have to do anything, and like you just kind of click the button, and then you never have to talk to them again for the rest of your life if you want to change. There's no like awkward texting or encouraging you to come back or convincing you or accusing you of not doing the work. Like all that weird stuff that happens when you break up with a therapist. This is a way less offensive form of ghosting your therapist. So
The goal is to find the right therapist
exactly.
in doing so.
And that's the thing. So that probably won't even happen because BetterHelp's so much better at matching you with the right person to begin with. There's an abundance of therapists. Whereas if you go to the therapy place, there's one guy available and that's it. And then there's nothing you can do. So that's a nice thing about BetterHelp as well. Just a really solid, evolved, modern way to go about going to therapy. I just highly recommend it.
Yeah, so never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/oops to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/oops.
You don't rap anymore, right?
No.
I
It's
wish
funny.
he still rapped.
We
He's
had a
really
funny
good at it.
conversation about this because he was asking me about it, and like I was encouraging him not to rap at one point. Not because he isn't good; he's great at it. But like to me, I stopped because I just started to feel like self-conscious.
There is like an embarrassment to it. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, oh God, what am I doing? As you're getting older, you're like, what am I doing? Am I making fun of it? Am I not making fun of it?
Well, that's the thing. Like at first, I guess I was like afraid to approach it in a way where I wasn't making fun of it, so I had to be making fun of it initially,
Right.
Which I did, and I think I did a pretty good job. My character's like pretty fun.
It was
pretty
awesome.
funny.
You were
Thank
making awesome songs.
I appreciate that. And I think there were some good songs for sure. And then like I kept making songs. And then at some point, like the most recent round of songs I was making, I was like, oh, you like think you're cool, dude.
Yes.
I'm like, this is fucking whack.
Yes,
And I
yes.
just quit on the spot.
Yes, I totally get that. That's why I try to like, if I'm like writing something, I'm like, you gotta like try to be as close to who you actually are than being like, if I was like, I got hoes, I would change hoes to like cheeseburgers or
Yeah,
something.
you're funny. Like yours is funny on the surface a lot. Like you have funny rap. You're saying funny stuff a lot of the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Which I think is like more straightforward potentially. Like maybe not, but like thinking about what I was doing, it was all sort of like this satirical thing. Ha ha ha. But then it eventually just got too much into like me wanting the character to be cool
Right. Well,
instead of me making fun of something.
Yeah, but there are some like instances where like, who's that guy who made this character? He was a comedian, and then he made this like country singer. Like, you know what I'm talking about? And he like went on Rogan with it, and he's like a big singer now who's like legit like
Right.
like people go out and see that guy. I was like thinking about it where what it is if it takes too much of the time of like a real thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? Which you said to me, you were like, I was putting a little too much time.
Suddenly,
into
all
it.
I'm doing, I'm in the studio all day. And
I
I'm not
know.
doing comedy as much. And
I know you're not writing stand up. You're not
Right.
like focusing on like
You only have so
the
much brain
money
power.
maker. Yeah, you only have so much bandwidth, but it still comes up. Like for me, it like I treat it like I'm a fucking serial killer. Like I get that. Well, you got it. You want to write something right now. You want to write a rap, and then I don't feel good unless I finish it.
Do you rap on stage, or have you done like similar to Lil Young Big
he
stuff?
makes like videos. Like he's had some like massive viral freestyles.
Yeah, I mean that my videos where I'm like it would be literally just like this, like no work put into it at all besides the writing, has like 9 million, 10 million, like but I'm also talking about like I did one about how I come fast, I did one about like farting and pooping, and I but they're all two things, like the one of forever with a, you know, like where it's like it may not mean nothing to y'all.
Yeah.
I went what did I say? I went what did the fuck did I say? Something about like having stinky balls or something like that. Or like every time I piss on my balls. I'm like talking about how small my dick is. And I go
That's great.
I piss on my balls, my dick is 4 inches. And I was like, there he goes, pissing on himself inside of the urinals, you know.
Nice,
and
nice.
that did really well.
Nice.
Or like, don't be surprised if I come fast. And it was, don't be surprised if I or what is it? Don't call it a comeback. It was like, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. So I did. Don't be surprised if I come fast. I just really like you.
It's like a Weird Al, an evolved Weird Al.
Exactly,
situation
and it's
potentially.
so easy.
Attempting to be Bo Burnham.
Yeah, exactly. The word attempting actually kind of hurt me. But,
Yeah, I thought it was hurtful also. I like the insults being fun.
But I'll take it. It's fine. I have an okay ego. It doesn't hurt that much. But yeah, and then I do that, and those videos do really well. But my stand-up then, and the algorithm or whatever, it's very tricky.
Decides you're a rapper now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now I have to put out videos where I'm rapping, and those will always do well. Whereas if I want to do stand-up, it's like not getting shit.
I refuse to do that. I refuse to, and then I'm probably never going to be successful because of it, but I refuse to do what the algorithm is telling me to do.
Yeah.
I got into this to do what I want.
Yeah.
If I make a video of myself fucking jerking off and it goes viral, well, this is a bad example.
Yeah, well, that's horrible.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what you want to do. If that's what you want to do.
Right. But I totally get what you're saying, and I'll relate it to a little bit more of a cleaner thing. Is say you did something where now you have, okay, this is what it is. What people are attaching themselves to in their videos online is now the new catchphrase. So there are comics back then who used to have get her done.
Respect at all.
I get no respect. And, you know, for the most part, a lot of them are gray. You know, like, you might be a redneck if blah, 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 blah.
All stuff that was cutting edge at the time.
Now, your catchphrase is you making the same video over and over and over again in a different way.
Right.
And I hate it. It's, to each their own, obviously.
We're being old heads for sure.
We're being old heads. Yeah,
But
we're
whatever.
being unks.
I'm fine with being an unk here.
Yeah, I got unk energy with this, but I to each his own. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. But I'm always kind of like, ugh. When someone's like, when they have a viral video and then they're like, oh, I gotta really capitalize that. And it's like, okay, well, what's the end game on this?
Yeah, you're
Right?
sunning Lynch hard right now, by the way.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
No, it's all right.
It was right back.
No, but it's good. But but like,
Is that what you do?
Lynch, no, he did it once because he did a rant about Chipotle. That is the reason why the Chipotle portion thing has become a thing.
No fucking
He started
Yeah.
it.
It became like,
It turned into like a moneymaker and like.
but now I'm the Chipotle guy, and I'm trying to post. I'm trying to post my sketches, and everyone's like, "Dance monkey, dance,"
You shit on
Chipotle.
Chipotle. Go shit on Chipotle.
and it's like it hurts.
How dare you write this
Yeah.
clever thing? Go talk about chicken portion.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you affected the zeitgeist. That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
dude.
It was
know.
cool. It was like a cool thing, but I want to like close the book and like
Yeah,
go
yeah.
back to like regular scheduled programming.
Right, you're
But I
tough.
can't.
You're Tony Stark dying in Avengers.
Yes,
I
correct,
get that. You
correct.
don't want to play Iron Man no more.
Yeah.
Correct.
I totally get that.
But I get your point.
suck.
It
You
does.
also
No,
have
it's-
a rapper character though.
you?
From back in the day.
I think now everybody has a rapper character.
I don't know.
Volvo,
we're an
my-
elite group.
My
here.
name was Volvo White. Because that's like the
a
basic
great
thing.
name.
Think of the car that you had and then like a color. Trying to be funny, but also like I'm listening back to these songs and I'm doing less rap and more singing with auto-tune. And then
That's
like
great.
there's moments of it where I did like a parody of like Gravity by John Mayer, except it's allergies. And I went back and I listened and I'm cringing because I'm like,
I'm a fucking hack.
I'm like so vulnerable in like I'm like allergies.
You're like trying to sing for
Well, that's
real.
what's funny about it.
Working
You have to be vulnerable.
against
Don't.
me.
I don't know the energy that you're bringing to that thing, but don't be ashamed of like being real about it, because that's what's funny. You can't fake it. If you try to be cool, it makes you look like you're trying to be cool. If you're making fun of you doing it and you're not like committing the whole thing, that's you trying to be cool.
I get
so
that,
you
yeah.
have to be like, I have to commit solely, and then just by me committing, this is gonna be funny.
Yeah.
You know?
But to the point that you guys were mentioning, it is like, oh, I'm being serious.
Dude, we need to call this
so
episode
fun.
Rapping is Stupid and Sucks.
I want to do a song where I get every
Rapping is stupid and sucks.
I want to do a song where there's a bunch of features on it, and it's a bunch of comedians who are actually good at rapping that either quit or don't do it anymore. You know
That's
what
cool.
I mean?
Bring
that would
back.
be cool, like
I
a
do that.
cipher.
I do
a
that.
cipher
Yeah,
of comedians.
that's sick.
You're like
What was your
XXL
guy's name?
2016.
Lil Young Big,
Yeah.
dude. Lil Young Big. He's still
Little Young Big.
still got
yeah.
like 25 tracks
Was
floating
it
around.
Little or Lil?
Lil
sorry.
Young Big. That's
Lil Young Big. It's fine. I was sincerely apologizing. I'm so sorry.
Well, dude, okay. So this is where it started to get complicated for me. There's a couple things. So first of all, what you're talking about with the country singer, I was like, okay, at one point I may have been cool with this, but usually I was not. If it starts going too well, then what happens? Right?
Right.
Suddenly I'm a rapper now.
Right.
I'm this rapper guy. And here's why that's bad. And I'll give you a specific example.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend at the time who was very toxic and corrosive and like wanted to be destabilizing. So she was maybe doing this on purpose, but it still hurt because she had the upper hand. Like it started as her like coming on to me so hard. She was out of my league. I thought like I was so excited. And then like it shifted.
Right.
And I was chasing and but at one point she's like, Lil Young Big is hotter than you.
What?
She's like, I would let Lil Young Big do things to me that I wouldn't let you do to me.
What?
And it like really upset
That's
me.
fucking crazy.
And then I
dude.
started being pissed off at the character. And I'm like, dude, you are the character.
You got jealous of the character.
I got jealous of the character.
Now, did you ever put the makeup on and all that stuff? And
No, but I did this thing called the Visual Art Project, which was like this live action like exhibition in my album.
I went there.
You
I was
came
there.
to it, yeah. So I
Yeah.
did it in LA and in New York. I did it in New York. She was there. I did the whole thing, and she came backstage, and I was in character still, and we like hooked up.
Wow, you were in character.
Yeah, I was like dressed as the
You
character.
had to be like, "What's up?"
So I was, yes, dude. It was so I want to jump out the window talking about this.
Good. Follow that.
It's
Follow the embarrassment. That's where good shit comes from.
it's true though. You're
It's
right.
when
Like
you're embarrassed.
Yeah, I made a promise to myself to try to not experience shame from my past anymore.
Yeah, forgive
You know what I
yourself.
mean?
Yeah, forgive
you do
that
some
kid.
embarrassing fucking whack shit. Like the amount of times it'll come up and it's just like
Yeah, that's brutal.
Pit in the stomach.
the pit.
But I always loved that character, and I thought I was like, oh, that is cool,
It's
and
funny,
it is
right?
funny.
Thank you, dude.
It's funny because it was good. It wasn't. You weren't saying funny things. You were just
Right.
good, and it was making me laugh.
Right.
That's why
Which
it
was the
funny.
so I'm proud of it, and I think it was good, and I think that like it made sense and did well. But there's two important things. One, I couldn't write if I wasn't depressed. Which is a thing I know, and it
That's
sounds
crazy.
It sounds like meta and like I'm trying to be Fiona Apple or some shit, but for real, if I wasn't like heartbroken or like pissed off at somebody, I couldn't write.
Weird.
Yeah, so like in a really whack way, all the shit that the character's saying is shit that I am actually thinking, but
Wow.
like that the character is saying.
Yeah, but at least it was good because we know some people who try to rap and it doesn't sound good, and they're saying how they feel. So they're meeting it halfway. They're meeting it halfway with the being personal and being honest and truthful, but it just doesn't sound good. So you're not like, ooh, I accept this and this sounds good, and I can feel how this guy's going. This is just bad, no rhythm, being like, and nobody books me.
Oh,
you know,
God,
like,
dude.
you know what I'm
my
talking
God.
about?
Oh man.
So yeah, but yes. So at least you were meeting both things and like creating this personality and stuff, which is. But I totally get that. I totally get being like, all right, leave that in the past.
So yeah, like I just sort of lost the desire to do it.
Right.
And I think, and occasionally I'm like, oh man, like if there was some way for me to like rap in a way that like excited me, I would certainly do it. I'm not like closed off to it forever, but at this moment.
Exactly. And like, that's kind of
calling
how I feel too, but I mean, it's a difference because I'm not creating a character. It is kind of me.
Which is honestly great. It's a better tie-in.
So I'm like, okay, I'm making a theme song for my podcast. Obviously, I'm going to rap. I'm going to do a rap song because I want it to be that. My special.
The intro is great.
The intro to my special is a rap song.
Yeah.
Which one of the comments was like, when people hate rap, because I've said this about rap when I was like fronting about hating rap when I was in high school. And I'm like, it's not hard to rhyme words. And I got a comment like that. But yeah. So it's like, I'll throw that in. Like, I think every special I make will have a song in it somehow or something like that, or the podcast or whatever. But I totally get being like, this is distracting me from living my fucking life.
Yeah, in a way. But dude, like you, in theory, you could get like big enough or whatever that people are going to want to see you rap at your fucking shows.
That's the problem though. That's nothing
Is it because it's like two different audiences?
It's two different audiences and it's two different things. I don't want to, when it comes to stand up, I'm like, I want it to be, I go up there and I tell some jokes. My whole thing is that I'm this bumbling kind of like whatever. Like I'm like, I'm falling into jokes and I'm bumbling and I'm like stupid pretty much. And then if I mix some like bravado-y kind of like, because you do have to have kind of like you got to like be cool a little bit.
Yeah.
And if I mix that in with what I'm doing on stage, it's not going to go well.
Discordant.
Yeah.
It's
that's
like,
the word.
there's a fundamental like difference between the two things that makes it hard to do them on the same show as the same guy.
And I've publicly hated on comedians that rap on stage. Because like I knew somebody, she started rapping very, we both know her. She started rapping, she started making it her personality, and she'd be on stage and she would be like, I'm the mom with the kids but I'm also a rapping MC mom in the house. And like it would do well in the sense of it would get like clapped her because it's different and like
look at this mom rapping.
Right.
Yeah,
any fucking idiot can put together, now I'm the commenter, but any idiot can put together some words that rhyme. And if you do it on stage, it kind of is like, because white people already get a little bit of leeway if you're kind of good. Like white people, if you're kind of good at rap.
I don't know, dude.
Really?
I don't know about that. I like
think
this discussion, but I think that you maybe if you're good, people will think you're great, but if you're bad, you're absolutely terrible.
Of course, yeah. But I'm saying if you're good, people will think you're really good. They'll be like, this hits, man.
Interesting.
This white guy.
Just because it's scarce.
Just because they're like, yeah, I didn't expect this white guy to be good. So if you can like put words together in a rhythm and it's good and you got a couple of punchlines, like people are like, this guy's good. Yeah. Whereas like, I'm sure somebody who's worked their whole fucking life, like, it's like their life is rap, and there's some, like, black kid being like, what? Are you kidding? Like, I could wrap circles around this guy, and everybody's like, oh, shit, oh. So that's the reaction comedians get if they're, like, some white fucking lady being like, and I love pussy, like, whatever.
She's so brave.
Yeah, exactly. And people
talking
are
about her pussy and rapping about
exactly. You go, da-da-da-da-da-da,
my pussy.
My pussy. And then everybody's like, yeah, they clap.
Cheer, cheer, cheer.
And that gives them a complex like, oh, this is what I should do. This is good. But what it really is okay, we just watched 4 comedians basically read from a diary, and now you're rapping to us.
And this is
so
like
it's exciting. A little bit
exciting.
more exciting. But yeah, it does come down to that where it's like, I had a thing when all my videos were getting millions of views of me rapping. What's up?
What's up, yo?
That I was like, there was kind of like a thought, and it's just like a whatever, like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I'm like, am I setting myself up for a situation where if, say I sell tickets this way, like, cause you're like, okay, I get that. I'll be the Chipotle guy. I'll follow this, you know, these views, and maybe that'll get some people. You're casting a wide net, right? You're casting this big wide net, hoping that you can get some people to come out to your shows. You know what I mean? Will I get people that are like, yeah, that was good, but he didn't rap about coming or anything, and then no one wants to see me again because I'm not.
Yeah,
doing
dude, he didn't say he was fat or gay once. Dude. Like
well,
I came from.
that's my act, so I said that a lot. But yeah, it's like he didn't rap or like it wasn't really like a rap show. I thought it was gonna be a
I see what
rap
you're saying.
show.
Yeah. Like the
Yeah,
comedy
so if
show.
I'm like, what's up, y'all? Come on out to see Seg Daddy.
Right.
Or whatever. That gave me fucking douche chills. But, and then they come out and I'm like, so I was at the mall the other day and I farted.
Yeah,
People are
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck is this?
I have heartburn.
Yeah. So I got eczema.
They're like dance monkey dance.
Exactly. So it's like,
Hey,
there is
hey.
that thought that
Yeah.
you were saying where it's like, where does this, what's the 5-year plan here?
Right.
You know?
But sometimes, dude, like, yeah, the 5-year plan doesn't always matter. Like, I'm impressed. Like, people always talk about how, like, comedians are artists and shit. And I guess, yeah, it's an art form, whatever. But there's, like, definitely people and it seems like music also, where, like, there's sort of, like, a different kinds of brains where, like, there is a comedy brain that is not that creative, if that makes sense. Like, there's, like, a person who's, like, motivated by using the tools that they have to be successful. And like,
Right. Can you give an example?
sure, like somebody who's really good at like figuring out what kind of stuff to make, and they are down to make that because they know it's going to do well. And then they start doing that, and they take that and they start doing the road and they start getting really big. And a lot of the time you don't ever like get the sense that the person is like that creative, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like they're smart and they're able to like do comedy and like, ooh, if I write a joke like this, it'll be funny. But there isn't
Right.
like any sort of like depth.
They
to it.
figured it out.
Yeah, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying that I am or am not like that. I'm maybe a little like that. I'm maybe a little not like that. I don't know. But it is an interesting thing where like the sad artist thing isn't always a thing.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to think that I have more of the creative, and I'm really bad at all that other stuff, the business, but I don't even think I have the creative, to be honest. So I'm neither, dude. But I totally get that. And yeah, I'm no hater shade to those people.
Yeah,
They can
no
figure
hate.
it out, because some people can figure out how to be funny. That's what Chris Rock said, right? He's like, I figured out how to be funny.
Yeah.
He's like,
And
I wasn't
dude,
funny.
we've seen people figure out how to be funny.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about this. I heard an interview. I forgot who it was. It might have been Kumail, but he was saying that Hannibal was awful. Like
Really?
Hannibal. They said Hannibal was.
That's crazy.
Now I don't know.
I don't
if this
even
is
believe
true.
that.
I don't believe it.
That's
because
how- but-
he is so
but
just talking naturally.
It is a
funny.
thing. This is a thing for sure, even with people who are very funny. Like some people start out kind of funny. Everyone gets funnier, but some people have it a little more than other people. But
Right.
you can like work at it. And Hannibal's just so naturally unbelievably hilarious and smart that like I have trouble believing this.
I know, it's hard to
but
believe.
We also arrived when he was already the guy.
He was way past.
He was
being
already
guy
the
when
man.
when I started
Yeah.
doing comedy, he was a guy. Like he was the dude. And but that's what I heard. I heard he was like wildly known as someone who wasn't good. Like he
That's
was a punchline for a lot of
crazy,
people. He's
bro.
like, well, at least you're not fucking Hannibal.
That's crazy.
You know, and then something just clicked and he figured it out, and he figured out his voice, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can happen. Anybody can learn. I wish I had the business part more, because guess what? The fucking talent, creative, whatever, that's not taking you very far. You could be really good, and if you don't know what the fuck you're doing on all that other shit, you're just some cautionary tale.
And I think that this is a thing that sort of transcends field. It's like being talented can be helpful, but like it's in no way the defining thing that gets you over the finish line.
Yeah,
You know what
I mean, you could be really good at rapping, but if you don't know how to make connections or whatever,
Totally.
then you're fucked. Or if like you could be really good, and if you don't know how to make good production, you could be fucked. If
Dude,
you're like,
100%.
oh, I'll just spit into my laptop. and the rest will follow. It's like, no, you got to put in the money to get to a studio.
Sound good.
Collaborate with a producer, and don't be a dick, and blah 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 blah.
Well, but dude, so I think that one thing that you appear to be very good at, and I think this helps in every field, is just trying to do things.
Yeah.
Like, you always are working on something. You always got a show coming out. You always are on a pods. You're around. And like that to me is more important than like being able to write jokes well.
Right.
And like, if you can write jokes well and do that, which you obviously can, which is why you're doing well, like that helps a lot.
Right.
But like being able to sort of like be out there and do it, if you're like so unbelievably bad, there is a chance that you can make things worse for yourself by trying hard, because everyone, it is possible, but it's uncommon.
100%. You can put out a special that's just like, that'll fuck you. Like, where you're like, hey, I'm putting in all the work, and I have my own podcast and I have my own special. But if the podcast is boring as shit and
your
the
shit
special
is so bad,
sucks,
you post the worst shit constantly.
yeah, then you're fucked. You were fucked. Yeah.
Okay, but listen to this quote. Danny Palmer loves quotes. He sent me this.
Okay.
It's a good one, though, and it's what we're talking about. Calvin Coolidge. Don't know what number president he was, but he was one of them.
Okay.
This is the quote. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. True.
Sure.
Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. It's very true.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Let's
I
see
totally
you take
agree.
the idiom down, Sagalow.
Well, I'll tell you this. Not once in there did he say, you got to do the work, though.
Well, I think that persistence implies that.
But I think there's a lot of people, especially in any kind of creative field, and especially in stand-up comedy, where there's a lot of people that are just like, I'll just hang out for 10 years and put in my time, and eventually someone's going to figure me out and find me. And that's the persistent. Like, the not quitting
Yeah, that's true.
is like a persistence.
That's true.
Like, I'm just not going to quit, and something's going to happen.
It's not a working smart.
Right.
Not proactive.
There's not enough working smart to go with the working
Right, and
hard.
I think if you asked Calvin Coolidge, he probably meant like, well, yeah,
He'd be like, all right,
you
fine.
got to work hard on it. You can't just like persist. You know what I mean?
You have to improve the approach.
Yeah, you got to keep trying and stuff. Like you definitely got to like. For me, it's very selfish. I'm doing stuff because if I take a second to stop, I'm gonna just fucking kill myself. Like if I take a second to let my brain. I'm like constantly like I'm building a floor away from a tidal wave of razor blades that's constantly coming to fucking cut me up and kill me. But if I keep creating projects, I'm like, oh, okay, so I feel good. I got the blinders on.
It's the surfboard that you sort of ride away from the wave of blades.
Exactly.
Cowabunga, dude.
Yeah, cowabunga.
Fucking go. This dude, I was at a wedding last weekend. He kept going, shocker mahalo.
Oh God, that sucks. But I do like that. I actually
Shocker
tried to
mahalo.
make I started like this was not even that far long ago. But you know when you're like in stand up or some sort of creative thing where you're like, well, what's my thing? What am I going to stand out with? And then I started going, I guess I'll do shaka. And I was like, I did it I think twice where I was like, shaka, and then I was like, oh God. And this was like 6 months ago. This was not that long ago.
It would be great to have a thing.
Well, you gotta have, it's gotta be subtle, you know what I mean? If you gotta have a thing, it's gotta be fucking subtle and not like you're trying. Like Eminem has a quote where he was like, I bleached my hair because I only got one chance to stand out. So I have to stand out. Like, how am I gonna stand out in front of all these people? And you only get one shot to do that.
I like that. There is something about X Factor too that like is really important. Like you see the guy who's like pissed off that he's not the main guy, but it's clear to everyone why he isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
Right.
Can you change that for yourself? It's possible, but maybe it's unlikely, but it is possible. And knowing that it's possible is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you may never get there, but you
Yeah,
think you
but
might
you're
be
gonna
able
keep-
to.
Which is where the persistence comes in.
Which is maybe where the persistence comes in.
And then you just keep trying and trying and trying.
Lynch, I don't know about you. When people ask me what's my favorite food, I always say a variety. Variety, without a doubt, always wins. I can't sit there and eat the same thing every day. And they also say it's very good for your gut health to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables.
That's trendy.
But anyway, HelloFresh has you covered as far as variety is concerned, because as you go through through and pick the different meals that you might want, or when you check off kind of the different restrictions or the things you're looking to adhere to, HelloFresh makes sure that you get a solid variety of different things. And it's so fun because it's hard to just be creative on the fly when you have 6 things you know how to make. It's hard to make room in your brain for a 7th dish that you've never made. You're like, you're always tired. You're like, I'm tired. I'm just going to make the salmon again. That's what I know how to make. I'm just going to make the salmon again.
That's how you say it with your hand
Yes,
up?
you wave your hand.
Hey, I'm just making the salmon again.
Making the salmon. But like, what if you could make rock shrimp tempura with rice and broccoli or whatever? Like, HelloFresh has such incredible recipes. And the fact that they give you those pre-portioned ingredients, it makes it way less intimidating to attack a recipe that you've either never heard of, never attempted, while doing multiple things you've never done at the same time.
Yeah, like imagine you're cooking something with broccoli without HelloFresh. You're going to use some of the broccoli head, but then you're going to have a little bit of leftovers, and then you have to put them in a bag, and then you're going to have to put it in the fridge, and then you're going to get little broccoli particles on the floor, and then you're going to have to vacuum that up. Or you get your pre-portioned broccoli for that specific meal. It just goes into the dish, and that's it. No extra cleanup. It's pre-portioned. It's like Legos, but for food.
Yeah, it's true. And like the cooking part of it isn't the hard part necessarily. Well, it is part of the hard part, but taking away the arranging the ingredients specifically and preparing them for the next step, taking that step out of it completely makes it so much more clean of a process. I don't even mean literally clean. I mean just like straightforward, easy to execute. Boom, boom, boom. You're done. That's why we love HelloFresh.
That's why we love them. So for free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/free oops. 1 free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/free oops.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. How's your work-life balance, dude? How's your personal life?
There's no difference.
It's the same, one and the same?
It's all work. It's all it's one and the same. Like, I don't see a difference. There isn't like a break. Like if I'm like, I mean, if I do what I got to do, like I'm like, okay, I have to post a clip for my podcast at this time there. I'll do that while I'm like, you know, if I'm like on the beach with my girlfriend, I'll be like,
right.
oh, I have to post.
So
this
you
real
do that
quick.
though, but you guys do stuff.
Yeah, I got to do shit.
Well, what beach you go to?
I went to Long Beach last week.
Nice.
But I'll go to Jones Beach. I go to concerts.
Nice.
Like, you gotta like live a life.
And so like if you go to concerts, are you going with your girlfriend? Or
Yeah,
are you going-
girlfriend or like my friend. I don't have friends that aren't comedians.
Yeah.
Like I do have friends that are like the homies that are from Long Island and people I grew up with, but you know, they all got wives and families
Right.
and stuff now, and it's like
they can't even hang because they have families.
Exactly. Or like if we do hang, it's like hey, we're all going to the bar, and it's like, okay, well, you all live on Long Island. I can't go out there.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not going to go out there just to go to a bar because I don't drink.
Do they live where you lived?
No, none of them still live
They
there.
all
I mean,
moved
maybe
elsewhere.
one or
Where are you
two.
from again on Long Island?
Syosset.
Okay.
Judd Apatow's from there too.
Is he really?
Yeah, and he's cool because he like reps it, which I like.
How deep is it off the LIE? Is it off the
40
LIE?
minutes.
Which
Not bad.
which
It's
exit?
exit 34. You want to know my mom's actual address with all your fucking questions?
If you want. No, but I'm just curious. It's Nassau County.
Yeah, Nassau County.
Okay.
Yeah, or 42, 34 or 42. I don't really remember, but it's not that far. You could drive right out there, and
It's a nice town too, right? Isn't there like
it's
fancy
top-
parts?
Yeah, it's like one of the top wealthiest towns in the world.
Are you a rich kid?
I'm like, I grew up comfortable. We didn't have any problems. Like we would go to. I think I was richer for a little while. I mean, let me get this straight. I'm not rich.
Yeah. You've never given that off.
This is the Cosby thing, right? You don't have money.
All right.
No, but like I grew up comfortable, never had to really, you know, I would cut up my clothes to like look cool, and my parents would be like, don't fucking, they're going to take you away if you do that, you know? And we would go to Disney World every year, and then
Public high school?
public high school.
It was a good public high school, right?
Syosset High School. Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
okay. It's no problems, you know. Everybody was rebelling with drugs or whatever, you know.
well.
But I had no problems, and I don't front like I do. Like I grew up fine. We went to Disney World every year, and then which is a big fucking vacation. And then the Depression or whatever. What was that? Remember that?
2009?
Yeah,
Financial crisis?
Yeah, the financial crisis in like
2008.
08, 09.
Yeah.
That hit, and that was kind of like a big like, ooh, but still, like they saved up tons of of money. Like it was just, and then my dad lost his job or he quit, so they didn't have jobs for a while, and then they split up, and a divorce is a bunch of money. So it's like there wasn't any like, okay, we're going to Disney World kind of thing. It was like I saw them panicking a bunch, but I never grew up that bad.
Right. So it was, but it's still not giving rich kid. It's just giving like,
but you know,
solid.
The parking
whatever.
lot in my high school were BMWs,
Right.
Audis, stuff like that.
Right.
So it was like I just grew up like suburban.
Yes.
You know, not like, you know, some people were doing better, some people were doing worse.
Were you cool?
In school? I don't know. I was kind of a weird kid. I was a little weird for a long time, and I would walk around my high school literally rapping out loud or like singing out loud. People would be like, what? Yeah, of course. Bleaching my hair. I would wear guy liner sometimes because I was also into Green Day.
Fire. Guy liner's unbelievable. I feel old for never knowing that.
You never even heard that phrase?
Never. Is it an old phrase or a new one?
It's old, yeah. It's
unbelievable.
You
when
really
I was
slipped that in there. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone.
I thought
Where was I,
everybody knew.
dude?
I don't want to knock the water.
Guy
into the thing.
liner.
Yeah. So guy liner, I would wear like, you know, I'd wear do-rags and stuff, and like, you know, I think I never got laid in high school, and no girls. Like, I never was good at taking a girl's advances. Like, they would have to go in and kiss me and be like, I like you and I want to kiss you right now, or I would never know.
Yeah, right.
And
This is sounding similar to your experience in your work earlier today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
How did I do?
100%.
Are you going to kiss me? Do you want to kiss me? You can.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kiss you, but you can kiss me.
Yeah, exactly. And which sucks because there's so many, you know, I have so many regrets on that because I knew there was like so many girls that I liked
smashed.
that I was like, I could have like, yeah, I could have gotten with these. There was this one girl who was like, we talked online. She went to a different school, and we talked online a bunch, and we were like talking online every day.
Nice.
And then we finally got to meet up, and I'm sitting on the bench, and she's sitting there, and she was pretending to be drunk, which I think is like a thing. Where she was like, because she had like a shot of Fireball. Maybe she was drunk, but she was like, oh, I'm so drunk. You know, she was trying to do that. And my buddies,
how times have changed.
yeah, right. And she's like, I really can't stay. You know, and I had friends like my buddy Jacob and Robbie. They were watching me, and they're like, because we've been talking about this, like, oh, you're gonna hook up with Alexis, right? And I was like, yes. And then she's going like, I'm so drunk. And my buddy's like fucking like that scene in Little Mermaid where they're like, you know, it's like percussions, strings. There you see her sitting there across the way, you know, and they're trying to do that. And they're going, kiss her, come on. You know, and I'm going, I can't. I'm so nervous. And it never happened. And now she's married, but she was fucking hot.
Dude, it was a thing. You could completely ruin something by talking online too much because now you like you have this like personality that like doesn't match your actual personality.
Right.
And then in person, it's like weird.
Right. And you're like, LOL.
Yeah. You learn that. It's amazing the way you learn about these complicated things on the fly like that.
Yeah.
I think every person listening has done that at some point in their life. They had like too much of a virtual pen pal that made it too weird.
Right.
And hopefully it happened when you were 16. That's when you're supposed to get that out of the way because if it's happening later, it may be tough to catch up.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I don't know if she was nervous to meet me, but I was very nervous to meet her, and I like shut down. And we saw a movie and then went to my buddy's place. And in the movie, like we were like, what? Like my buddy was like, well, sit next to Alexis, and I was like, oh yes, of course. Like I wasn't even planning on doing it yet. I'm sitting in the movie, and I'm like trying to like look over to her. And nothing. And she was like, huh? She was so excited to meet me. She's like, oh my God, it's blah, 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 blah. And in my head, I'm going, she's going to realize I'm fat. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, she's going to see me for the first time. Like just this self-hated fucking kid, you know?
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're getting close to being done here. I have a couple more
That's
questions
crazy.
for you.
This went by so
Fine,
fast.
for you. Great guest. Great to have you on. It's always nice to have people on who do podcasts themselves. They're always the best guests. But so you started comedy when you were 19. I'm assuming this is around the time when you were at New York Comedy Club hanging around with what's his name, the big guy, the redhead.
Brian DeMoy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You still talk to him?
No.
Does he live in Iowa or something?
He's in LA. He moved to Los Angeles. And then he had a kid with his chick.
Oh, nice.
And we don't really talk at all. But yeah,
These guys were boys.
2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, these two were peas in a pod. He was
Yeah.
sort of like the older brother figure.
Yeah, everybody
which sounds
always
like you have a
loves to
little
fucking sun me, dude.
You have a little younger. It seems like you have a little younger brother sort of resentment.
I just have a vibe. Yeah, I have a vibe because I'm really bubbly and I'm like golden retriever, and I am a little brother. So I just give that vibe off. And
You don't anymore.
Good, yeah.
You
Yeah.
did,
Damn
but you
right.
were also
Yeah, I was
fucking
also 19.
child, bro.
Yeah, I
You-
was a
of
little
course you
boy.
gave it off.
And he was like 28 or something, like hanging out. And yeah, we were 2 peas in a pod. And no, he left, and I don't think he does comedy anymore, which is crazy because he was so into it.
Yeah. Well, dude, that happens. You see people who like are hot and heavy for 3-4 years, and then they move on.
And I get, you know what? And my problem is I feel like everybody loves it as much as I do. So
Comedy?
I'm like, we're in this forever. And then they just fucking leave.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, I guess you really weren't into it. Or you can't take the rejection.
You couldn't
or
take it anymore, yeah.
Can't take it anymore, yeah.
Which I understand how someone gets there, but
Totally.
you have to be doing
Well, that's why you got to work.
Enough
and,
stuff,
Like, that's why
yeah.
you got to make shit and be writing. Because if you're not making something, to me, I don't want to put this on anybody. Me. I need to write, which, you know, if anybody's seen my act, they're like, that's not true. But if I need.
I saw you killing the other day, bro. I don't know.
Thanks. But, you know, if I'm writing, I hate doing a show where I'm going through the motions. And I'm like, oh, here's my joke. Here's my good joke. Because no matter how good a joke could be, if you're hating it while you're saying it, they see it. You know, they see it.
Or they
on
feel
my
it. They
fucking
catch
eyes.
the
They
vibe.
can feel it. They catch a vibe. And we know about this all the time. Comics talk about this. When you have a new joke that you're excited for, it can fucking suck. But when you first say it, you're so excited that everybody's like, all right,
kills
yeah,
the
that's
first time,
funny.
But it also makes the rest of your set better. Even it makes the jokes that you're sick of telling less unbearable because like you're excited about them.
Well, because you're supposed to me, stand up is we're in a room hanging out. This is live. I'm with you. Like, I'm in the room with you. This is how I would talk if I was talking to a bunch of friends
now.
that's just hanging out and stuff.
Totally.
Like, here's a couple of things I thought of. Isn't this crazy? And then we'll go home. Whereas, like, a lot of people are like, okay, and puts the mic stand there. Okay, thank you, everyone. Let me tell you a little about myself. Right. And everyone's like, oh, you're like doing this at us.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Yeah, agreed. But hold on. You did not go. So you didn't go to college. Did you
I went
go
to 3 colleges.
Oh, really?
That's how fucking
So
smart I am.
you were, but okay. So did you do bad in high school?
No, I was pretty good in high school. I
So
mean,
what
I
happened?
bombed the SATs bad. There's a clip from my old podcast where we called my mom and asked her what I got on the SATs because I don't remember. I don't care. And we call her and I go, Mom, what did I get on the SATs? And she goes, do you think you're strong enough to handle this answer? And I was like, it just immediately killed us. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you bombed them. You got like a 900. And I was like, what? And so I didn't really do well, but I did get into, I got by on high school just because I was like a likable dude. And I think the teachers were like, give him as many chances as he can get because
He's
he's just a fucking idiot.
He's finding himself. The do-rag guy liner guy at the same time.
Yes.
Give him a B. Come on.
Yeah. Let's just pass him through. I don't want to look at this guy's fucking eyes for the next 2 years, you know? And then I got into School of Visual Arts.
Oh, cool.
Surprise.
In New York, right?
In New York. And I did a semester there, and my major was film. And it was a very expensive school, but I kind of got in with like a scholarship, not a full ride, but like they were like, okay, because I was making videos in high school. I was making like sketches and stuff in high school. So they were like, oh, this guy's doing stuff. And I went there for a semester with my buddy, and he left. He was like, I don't think this is good. And him leaving made me go like, maybe I'm not in the right place either, which I regret. I mean, I'd still be paying it off to this day. But I was like, fuck, man, I should have just changed my major to acting or something. Because I was like, I don't really like doing film. It kind of sucks. I hate film. I hate actual film. I like looking at film, but I hate filming with film because you have to fucking
Important to know the distinction.
put the fucking thing in with it and stuff like that. And I just didn't want to do any of that stuff. And that was all first semester 101 shit. And I just was like, this is boring as fuck. Yeah. I was falling asleep in every class. And I was like, but if I did acting, I think I would have really liked that.
Interesting.
And then I left there, went to Nassau Community College where I was on the fucking dean's list of cool kids. And then I graduated from Pace University.
Nice. Interesting.
In Phi Dai.
All while doing comedy?
I started comedy at Nassau Community. So I was driving in from Long Island and doing comedy there. And then when I went to Pace, it was perfect because I dormed downtown.
Oh yeah.
And I would just keep going in. Like all the kids, it's funny, like all the kids were like partying and stuff, and I'm like hanging out with 40-year-olds.
Yeah, well, there's an elite group of people who were somehow able to stomach the idea of what you're talking about, which is why people don't start that young that often. I know there's some people who like start dabbling in comedy, but there aren't a ton. And the ones who do, I mean, I can think of 5 like of people that like I know personally, and not more than that. And most of them are either on the fast track to success or are successful.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know like I'm not even including like Aziz in that, or like Eddie Murphy, or like those massively famous people who started really young.
When did Aziz?
College.
Oh wow, yeah.
But bro, I mean, Pete, fucking Nico,
yeah. There's a bunch of people that started that can just stomach being like, because that then you really love it. Like I loved the vibe. I loved the smell of a comedy club. I loved the vibe of it. I loved people wanting to talk about comedy, and like I was so overeager, I'd be busting people's balls. You know when like a new guy comes in and he thinks you're supposed to just be busting balls and stuff.
He thinks you're supposed to be friendly.
Yeah, or just being like, oh,
you?
like we're all comedians, so like your fucking hat sucks, and then you say to me, you're like, turn it off. Like I've gotten that where I'm this is just people. We're just people. We're not supposed to be like joking, tough crowd. You know what I mean? But I loved that vibe, and I loved hanging out, and I loved that better than a bunch of drunk kids.
Right.
Fucking, whatever. And I still couldn't get laid. So it was like, what am I going to go to a party and not get laid when I could be telling a joke?
Yeah, and there's also something to be said about people who are like have a strong enough personality that you can like go be around men as a child,
right?
And, like whatever that even means, you know what I mean? And that could be, there's different versions of that, you know what I mean?
Right, like
but
that
still,
old soul kind of
weird.
shit.
It's weird. Yeah,
it is very weird.
But it gives you a huge advantage. If there's any children listening to this podcast and you want to be a comedian, you should start now.
Yeah, start now.
Chances are you'll have a huge advantage.
Not only start now, but don't listen to when comics tell you're going to be famous or something like that.
Yeah, don't let people gatekeep you.
When you're young, the older guys,
they'll snatch. Yeah, they'll try to stop you.
Well, yeah, they'll either try
snatched.
to stop you, or they'll they will like be like, man, you're not that good. Or the thing that fucked me up was people were like, you got something, you're pretty good, like, and how old are you? And I'd be like 19, 20, and they're like, oh great, you're gonna be famous by like 25. And then I was like, coasting. Like I didn't start writing till I was 8 years into comedy.
Oh, wow.
Like I just had a set and I was like, this is funny, blah, blah, blah. But I never crafted it. And I just started writing and crafting and writing every day and all that stuff. And it was, I was like, I cannot believe
it took me this long.
It took me 8 years to actually work at this job.
Crazy, dude.
How many years have you been doing comedy in total?
3. No. I've been doing it 14 years.
Solid.
And what are you, 16?
I guess, yeah. Well, yeah, it was 2008. So I guess this would be the 16th. Yeah, summer 2008.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, wow, bro. Onward and upward. Anyway, go check out Thin Lips on YouTube, Brendan Sagalow. Where else can they find you?
Sag Daddy Da Pod
Cool.
on everything. And yeah, just Thin Lips and Sag Daddy Da Pod on YouTube. And at Brendan Sagalow if you want like Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff.
Yeah, whatever you want to share, bro.
Hell yeah.
Come see me, Hilarities in Cleveland, 30th, 31st of August.
Nice.
Then I am at Coastal Creative, St. Pete, 20th and 21st of September, 13th of October, Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio, and hereafter at the Crocodile, 26th of October at Not Julio, Not Julio G, at Oops the Podcast, oopspodcast at gmail.com. Lynch.
Ryan is really polite. Check it out for all updates, please.
Fuck yeah, I love you all. Goodbye.